magic in Game of Thrones is rare. It's something that's not really common. If anything, it's unheard of to come across magic in this world, let alone someone who can actually use it. You get the impression, at least early in the show, that magic doesn't really exist. But as we get to find out, there are some characters who can actually use magic. And what we get to find out from them is that magic is really hard to use. So let's look at the first 4 seasons of the show and rank these characters. At number 8, we have Quaithe of the Shadows. So the reason why Quaithe is number 8 is because we actually don't know that much about her. In other words, we never really see her in action. We know she's from Asshai and that she knows shadow magic, but we never really see it in action, so therefore we don't really have a reference. Now, I do think that Quaithe is legit, and I do think she's actually good at using this magic, but because we never really see it in the show, we can't really rank her any higher than this because it's almost like we have no real evidence of it. But once again, I do think she's actually good at this. So Pierre Prey uses illusionary magic, and although this is kind of cool, in my opinion, this is one of the lowest levels of magic. So what do we have here? Now, Pierre Prey in the show can create images of himself, kind of like clones, and he uses this ability to kill 11 of the 13 counselors in Qarth. Now, the thing is, if these were just images, how can an image possibly kill someone? It doesn't make any sense. So there has to be more than meets the eye with his ability. I think what this is basically he can create clones of himself that are physical entities that can hold weapons and different items for a certain period of time. And once that time finishes, like these clones just vanish. So it's a little bit more than just illusion. It's actually temporarily real. And even more impressive, he actually steals 3 of Daenerys' dragons. Now, obviously, and he actually imprisons Daenerys as well. He does end up dying, but he does accomplish quite a bit with what he has to work with. And also, the drawback to his ability is that he can't really use his magic without the dragons. That's why he steals them. It's like his source of power. So, without the dragons, he's nothing. So, Auril is a skin changer. Now, what that is basically he's able to insert himself into living beings and take control of them. But the problem with Auril is that he only ever skin changes into birds. Now, not to say that's not impressive, but we never see him skin change into wolves, into bears, or even into people. Now, it's really difficult to skin change into people. It's something that is unheard of. Like, it's never really happened before. But the fact that he can't do that kind of shows the limit of his abilities. Now, I'm sure he can walk into or skin change into small animals like rats, for example, or something like that, apart from birds. But that's pretty much the capabilities that he has. Okay, so now we're down to the top 5. At number 5, we have Mirri Maz Duur, and she uses blood magic. But I don't think she uses it that often, because when we find her, she's actually a god's wife, which is like a priest at a temple. But the fact that she can use blood magic must mean that she's from Asshai, because that's the place you go to learn that type of stuff. And also, there's other characters that can use similar type of magic, and they all come from the same place. But going back to this, she actually uses blood magic to actually kill Daenerys' unborn child, which is kind of dark and cold, but at the same time, it's really impressive because she doesn't use any knives or weapons to kill Daenerys' unborn child. She uses spells, incantations, and also just dark magic to be able to do this. And if she's able to actually kill Daenerys' child like this, what else is she actually capable of? And that's one of the reasons why she's in the top 5. At number 4, we have Melisandre, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. She's a Shadowbinder from Asshai, kind of similar to Quaithe. But the reason why she's higher up on the list is because we've actually seen her in action. And what is a Shadowbinder anyway? A Shadowbinder is someone who binds shadows to their will and manipulates them. But it's kind of ironic because Melisandre follows the Red God, which is the Lord of Light. So it's surprising that she uses dark shadows and this kind of magic when she follows a Light Lord. But anyway, in Season 2, she uses a Shadow Baby to kill Renly Baratheon. And the reason why this is super impressive is because, for one, it's a Shadow Baby. But number 2, this Shadow Baby kills its intended target. You know, a million things could have gone wrong with this. It could have killed the wrong target. It could have backfired and maybe even killed her. And maybe killed someone that was, part of her team. But somehow she manages to manipulate it to kill its intended target. And that's something that's not easy to do. But the disappointing thing about this is that we only see it once in the series, meaning that this is something that can only be used maybe only ever once or rarely. So it's kind of like a trump card. You can only ever use it maybe once and that's it. So if you are going to use it, you have to make sure that you use it at the right time. So I think Melisandre could have been higher up on the list, but this is the only real impressive feat that she has in the series. Everything else she kind of does kind of fails, and that's why she's not higher up in the list. At number 3, we have Thoros of Myr. So Thoros is actually pretty similar to Melisandre because they use the same type of magic. And we can only assume that Thoros has also been to Asshai, even though we don't know much about his background. But what we do know is that he's some sort of priest. He follows the Red God, the Lord of Light, and he also uses fire magic, which is also similar to Melisandre. However, the difference is that in Season 3, Thoros brings Beric Dondarrion back from the dead, which is unbelievable because we've never seen anything like this before. And we never thought that bringing someone back from the dead would even be possible, but somehow it happens. And what's even more impressive is that we get to find out that Thoros has brought back Beric Dondarrion back from the dead 6 times, which, when you look at it, this can't be a coincidence. It's not that, somehow Thoros brought Beric back once by accident and it was just some sort of miracle, but he does it multiple times over and over again, which shows that this isn't a fluke or a coincidence. This is something that he can do consistently, and it shows that Thoros knows how to bring people back from the dead. And that's why he's in the top 3. At number 2, we have Bran Stark. So Bran is a skin changer and a green seer. So what are those? A skin changer is someone who can enter beings, people or animals, and control them. And a green seer is someone who can see the future. But the reason why this is such a big deal is because it's already rare enough to have just one of these abilities. But to be able to have both is actually unheard of. And that alone is the reason why Bran is in the top 2. But what has he done? So he actually walks into summer on multiple occasions. But even more impressive is that he walks into Hodor. And from what we know in this world is that it's actually extremely hard to walk into a person because it's another level of difficulty. But the fact that Bran can do this at such a young age is super impressive. And to add on to that, Bran can also have prophetic dreams. These are dreams that predict what's going to happen in the future. The catch, however, is that these dreams are really hard to understand. But if you can accurately decipher what these dreams mean, you can know what's going to happen in the future. At number 1, we have Jaqen H'ghar. Jaqen is an assassin of the Faceless Men. The Faceless Men are an organization of assassins and priests who worship death. They follow the many-faced god, or the god of death. But what's impressive is that Jaqen can literally change the way his face looks, so that he looks like someone completely different. And beyond that, he can change his identity, from the way he speaks to the way he acts, making this the most impressive ability on this list.